next week's ladies' night. That's going to be fun.
And we are live.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hola.
As always,
Look how big my
back in the
hands
same
are.
spot. This time on our regular scheduled Tuesday slot. How's everybody doing?
Yes.
I'm doing
Good,
all right.
good. How
How's
are you,
everybody's,
brother? Are things warm up there at least? I
it's hit
kind of
and
lost
miss.
track of what.
It's hit and miss.
Well, I guess it's June.
Yeah, we
June.
had some nice weather.
Oh, is it?
Then we
Okay,
go
well,
into
there you
some
go.
crappy rainy weather, and then goes back into somewhat mild. Brent, you're here. What do you think?
Well, the rain is.
Brent's been locked in his basement, as you can see, the entire time.
Ew. This will be the last Toque talk from the basement. So look for a new setting. You're
I
gonna
don't.
not be,
I think that's. I actually believe that's just some sort of backdrop you have on your computer.
it's totally Wayne's World, guys. I mean, with paneling, you should see this shit.
Star Wars and hockey.
Exactly.
That's all you need right there.
It's basically 1978 down here.
Yeah, I love that.
That's so awesome.
That's a good year for music
It
and
is.
movies.
Absolutely.
All things, yeah. So once again, Brent and Darren are in Winnipeg. Corey and Shane are in Los Angeles, and I'm in Las Vegas. So once again, international, all over the place. And we'll be reaching all the way out to Toronto, I guess, somewhere in that area.
So how's everybody
Brent.
been doing?
Exactly.
Things are loosening up. Name of your sex tape. However,
Somewhat.
however, yeah, exactly.
1
Yeah,
through
things are-
5. Yeah.
They're starting to open up slowly but surely here in SoCal.
Has anybody been? Have you been out indulging in any sort of, I don't know,
I-
Starbucks? Corey, what?
Over here in the back. Jody and I actually went to a restaurant for breakfast.
Patio or inside?
Interesting.
Yeah, and inside. Well, that's what we said on the phone. We're there because we ordered food, and they said, "Well, we're open in the restaurant." And I know they had a patio, and we said, "On the patio," and they said, "No, inside." They had the tables all spaced apart.
Right.
The server not only had a mask, but she had like a full spit shield
Wow.
going on.
Like a well field. Like
and they used the temperature gun on us to make sure we didn't have a fever when we sat down, and we were the only people in the restaurant.
Wow.
It was
Yeah,
quite bizarre. We actually felt a little strange just being out,
Yeah.
especially in an environment like that.
Yeah.
But
where
that's
was it on Ventura Boulevard?
no, it was up on Sherman Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I went to a doctor's appointment yesterday. It was the same thing. They had the temperature gun and had to answer some questions before you went in. But Shane's already been through that too. It's a whole thing. So, and there's like 3 of us in the waiting room that usually holds 20. So you're kind of like very interesting. But I haven't really. I've gone to a few coffee shops and gone in, got your coffee, and then sat outside. That's how we met Frank Sidoris.
Never
Does
heard
anybody
of him.
remember Frank Sidoris from the Conspirators? We hadn't seen him in a long time, so I was like, we wanted to catch up, so had to have a socially distanced coffee. So yeah, that was fun, but it's still very strange. So actually sitting inside seems to be a little bit on the rare side. So I haven't actually gone out for a meal, but I've ordered so much Grubhub that it's becoming weird to imagine I have to go somewhere and sit there. They don't bring it to my house. I can't live in
right.
pajamas the rest of my life.
So the casinos are open, but they're just doing the spacing thing.
Some of them are open, and I guess I haven't really paid that much attention. I don't really go out that much to casinos anyway. I mean, most locals, we don't always go out to local casinos, but I am very curious. I assume, machines are probably spaced out, or machines are like some are working and some are just kind of shut off. And I would assume they're probably letting in only a number of people, and they probably have some way of doing their temperature as well.
They social distance
Very
in there
curious.
anyways. Every
Very
casino I
interesting
ever
time.
go to, you got that one lady sitting there playing 5 machines, and she's got them all spaced out anyways, right? So
That's her
one of them's going to win.
tactic. That's her thing. She's
So
got
everybody's
that.
been busy here. Brent, you've been
Yeah.
busy as well, as we've talked a little bit, and we might as well give a plug to fellow Canadian and your friend Phil X. New single out today. Understand you were playing on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil X and the Drills. So Phil has me as an honorary guy in his band.
Honorary drill.
An honorary, and it's a Canadian thing. You know, Phil's from Toronto, and Dan is from Toronto. Actually, Dan, the bass player, is from Sarnia, Ontario.
Wow.
And it just so happens that
Our guest is from there.
Yeah.
someone on Toque Talk today also from Sarnia.
How far
Yeah.
is Sarnia from Toronto? Is Darren? know?
It's not too
I don't
far.
know.
It's what
good
they consider in the GTA.
That
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
southern Ontario thing. Yeah.
So
But-
Sarnia was the city where, when we were touring with my family band, the band house gave us scabies.
Wow.
Why
Yeah.
would they give it to you?
Well, the band, you know,
Why
there
did
was
you accept it?
something going on in the house, and we all ended up with scabies.
Oh
Like
my
your parents? Like
Yes.
That one.
Yeah, the whole
Well,
family.
that's a
band.
great story.
Is
That's a
that
great
the other
family
things
story
you
that
get?
you guys can all look back on. Yeah.
Oh man,
This is-
we've been in so many really
Well, it's
lousy
because
band
they
houses,
share the
and
band
you guys all
houses.
know
The dancers
evil-
stay there as well, right? So you know you get.
There's other things that I've heard of getting, but not scabies. What are scabies anyway?
Isn't scabies really gnarly? Like, isn't it
It's
painful
like-
and stuff?
No, I think that's
Scabies is
shingles.
Like
maybe
is
you're
like
thinking of.
basically
Yeah.
bed bug bites. They're itchy as shit, and you just it's just like
Like a bed bug kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they leave little tracks in your skin, like you can
Oh.
see where they've been, kind of thing.
Yikes.
They play punk rock too. What about rat scabies?
There you go.
Is that a drummer for a
I
band?
think we started our side band called the Sarnia Shingles. Or no, Sarnia Scabies. Sorry, that's better.
There's lots of good people from Sarnia, and Todd, our favorite Sarnia drum tech extraordinaire, Lorne.
That's right.
is from
Gump,
Sarnia.
as we call
Oh,
And-
really?
Yeah, Gump toured
Neil
with us on the Slash tour when we started the last tour. And but actually, what's important is he actually was back in the day with Kim Mitchell and all the the Sarnia Mafia. That like they all were touring guys together back in the day. So
Yeah, because Lorne was with Rush for how many years?
yeah, he was Neil Peart
Neil's guy.
after that for probably like 25, 30 years.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
And now he's out with Kiss. Well, he's home right now, but he's been with Kiss for a while, huh?
yeah, I think the whole last tour he started the tour. But to back up on the Phil thing, so what's funny is
Make sure you say who Phil plays with now, though.
well
I don't think we've dropped that Phil is the guitar player
he's
for
been
Bon
with
Jovi.
for
Yeah.
maybe almost 10 years on it. Yeah, I think he's been with
Wow, that long? Wow.
he was with Aldo Nova. I think we mentioned Phil. Were we talking about him last week or
his
a
name
couple weeks
comes up.
ago?
I think that warrants him getting on the show.
Yeah, let's get him
Absolutely.
on.
We should get Phil. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he put a single out today, and a week ago Phil said, "Hey, let's do a quick little COVID style video.
Right.
Let's do it off our iPhones." And I said, "Well, cool, but I'm in Winnipeg." He goes, well, figure it out. Just do it in Winnipeg. So I was in the middle of doing all my stuff here, helping with my parents move of all the house stuff here. And so I went down the street to a friend of mine's. I said, "Hey, I need your drum kit. I'm going to come over and shoot a video." So we basically set up the cameras in a basement, like total Winnipeg style, with the bar right beside the drum kit and everything. And so I'm guessing that video will come out in the next couple days. So if you see
cool.
a clip from it, I'm in somebody's basement in Winnipeg in the video.
It seems like Winnipeg only has basements. That's what I'm learning.
fallout shelter. Really, is what it is.
Right?
Fallout shelter, yeah.
That's
Speaking of that, I've been watching a lot of preppers binging the what it's called, Doomsday Preppers.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I can only
Some of those
imagine.
people are like full on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet. Have they got I know quite a few people who are not necessarily doomsday guys, but they have like when all this happened, they're like, "Oh, I'm good, dude. I got tons of water and
Yeah.
canned food and all kinds of supplies, toilet paper, all that kind of stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well." And then this happens, and then you go, "There you go. So you're ready for it, yeah."
Yep. And they were right then. They're all sitting
were
at
right.
home going, "This is it, guys. This is it. Let's
Except
bug
it
out."
was- yeah, exactly. Except it was only a few weeks, really, or whatever.
Speaking of videos, what should we maybe mention our little upcoming Canada Day thing?
Yeah, we have there's a Canada Day show, I assume, that's going to be I think broadcast. Is it broadcast over the? We don't know a lot of details, so we're kind of just juggling around this idea. But Toque is officially going to appear on this thing, and it's a very similar idea to what Brent's doing. We're all going to find Winnipeg basements to record ourselves in. So it's pretty involved. No, actually, I think we're just going to be like playing live, but like not together.
Individually, yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but it's going to be fun. So it's something we've been working on for a while. So on Canada Day, which is July 1st for anybody who's not Canadian, we will appear doing a song. So that'll be really exciting. It'll be fun to. I haven't performed it anyway, really, other than playing acoustic guitar.
So is that going to be a series of bands, or is
So
that
it's
just
fun.
going to be a select few, or how's that working?
As far as I know, it's going to be a group of guests, of people. So it's kind of a Canada Day celebration. So unfortunately, we don't know a lot of information. Probably next week or the week after, we'll start to kind of really have as much information as possible. It's probably being
Right.
hosted by somebody,
So
and, that kind of thing. So
What's the
No, I was going to say,
Surrey
do we
connection?
know where it's going to be broadcast?
the what?
Isn't it Surrey? Like what's
It's based out of, because we were supposed to do a Canada Day show in Vancouver. Surrey is a suburb of Vancouver. Our friend who was one of the guests on this show, John Donnelly, he puts on shows. So we were going to be a guest on that, and it's because it couldn't happen due to COVID-19. He's sort of created this online live streaming version that I think would be a lot of fun, actually. And we couldn't say no to Canada Day.
No.
Yeah, as we know, you guys would have probably
be
been up
right
here
around
this time, and well, that's not going to happen.
We were supposed to be up. We were supposed to be up at a whole lot of places by now.
every day I get the notification flash on my computer. Oh, Kamloops.
Yeah.
Toque. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know. It sucks. It sucks not. I mean, I want to say probably every one of us has not been off stage this long in our life, really, unless it was sort of like some sort of chosen, I don't know, break from things at one point where you thought maybe. Remember when you went into animation, Corey? But even then, you were still performing. You were still playing music.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, it was.
So it wasn't like you were kind of like, this is a very interesting time to be kind of like
Except for that
not
battle
on
with
stage in any
scabies
way,
in
shape,
what,
or form,
81?
so. In Sarnia. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I had a gig Friday the 13th,
Ooh.
March. And then when was our last gig? You guys remember the date of
It
that?
was in Regina at the
Yeah,
Telemiracle.
what's
Yeah.
that? That was
you
like
came
Spit?
came back, played that show, and then they shut the world down. So we played there the first week of March, I guess, maybe March 11th at the latest.
It was the 6th through the 9th we were there.
Okay, that sounds right.
I
Yeah.
think Corey played the last gig of all of us, though, because you still did a Vegas Shania show, right, Corey?
That's right.
Yeah, I went right from Telemiracle in Regina to right to Vegas and played 2 shows basically just over the weekend, and then they sent everybody home.
And you said it was like packed.
Oh yeah, it was great. It's
Yeah.
and I think at the end we were like one of the only shows in town that was still going.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That helps. Yeah, that helps a lot.
totally.
Yeah, I'm very curious to know. Like, that's one thing that, like, a lot of my friends here in Vegas, a lot of Brent's friends as well, are working musicians around Las Vegas. So I'm kind of quietly keeping my ears open as to how that's going to go. Like, I assume one day it's going to be like someone doing an acoustic thing in the corner of, a casino or something like that, and maybe over there, and slowly it'll turn into a duo, and now there's a trio over there, and then the next thing you know, it's because when you walk into a casino, no one really considers the idea that there's multiple venues within a casino, because there's this little piano bar, and there's a little restaurant over there where some guy plays, and then there's a showroom, and then so it's like a lot of musicians work in this town 7 nights a week if they want to. So I'm very curious to list. That's how I'm going to know how the music industry is quietly kind of opening up, at least in this town. So we'll see. I mean, we all know that the industry, as the world opens up, the music industry will be one of the last things to open up.
Yeah, that's true.
or any industry, or any entertainment industry, really. I mean, I would assume any like film business has to be very interesting right now. But you know, sooner than later.
I think we need to start the Adopt a Musician Foundation.
Yeah, can we get Sarah McLachlan to sing a song?
For only 10 cents a day.
Less than a cup of coffee.
What's happening with sports? Any new developments there?
I hear that that's supposed to be happening in July. I mean, I haven't heard anything official, but I have been hearing quiet bubbling up of, you know, enclosed, no audience games of some sort. I mean, the only one I pay attention to is hockey, so I don't know, but I assume all the other ones will be following suit in some fashion or other. Just trying to figure, because that's one of the only things that works is the idea of playing a game without an audience, even though the audience obviously has an effect in whichever way it does or does not. But you can do that. Playing in an empty, you know, hockey arena doesn't make any sense.
Well,
at
we
all,
can always
so.
get you guys up here. We'll get, you know, a couple thousand people down there, and we'll just call it a protest. Apparently, we can do that. So we're gonna do that.
Well, there you go.
There's always loopholes.
Yeah, there's
we'll
loopholes.
protest the fact that, you know, nobody's making any money right now. So there you go.
No live shows, exactly.
It's interesting, the dressing rooms and the benches. Are they going to have to, I guess they're going to do like temperature screening and maybe COVID tests or something every game? Or?
Well, I mean, you know how intense the sporting community is as far as like all points in between, like the training and the diet, and they're like, they don't miss anything. So I assume with this, they'll be very, 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 very intense. Yeah.
When I did my blood, they give you the little finger prick and they just can tell pretty soon thereafter if you have COVID or not.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but finger pricks opening up for the Sarnia scabies. It's going to be a huge show. Canada Day, come on
there
out.
you go.
No, I'm kidding.
So Shane, you thought you had COVID way back in January.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I was pretty much, I think I told you guys, but I was pretty much certain that I had COVID. But, you know, I had this thing for 6 weeks that was like all the classic symptoms, you know, from the dry cough to the, you know, a little bit of a sore throat. And then down into the lungs, I had like kind of like an asthma pneumonia thing for like 6 weeks. And I just thought I had it for sure. And then all of a sudden, it didn't just go away. It just kept there. I had probably 2 months overall, but I did get tested last week for the antibodies, and negative. I didn't have it. I've never had it.
Like that. I say I've known a lot of people. I've known a lot of people during this thing who've been like, "Oh, I think I already had it," and I'm kind of like, "Maybe you didn't, dude." I mean, the other crazy thing about it is that people have no symptoms at all, or very limited symptoms, and so who knows? You know, it's so crazy.
It appears things are opening up.
Yeah.
Somebody just commented. Elizabeth said Australian AFL starts tonight, so I'm assuming that's Australian Football League, which would be footy. Like, what's that? There you go.
Yeah. Aussie rules football. Footy. Yeah.
Which is like one of the most violent sports there is.
So
they're like basically Vikings, you know, with a football.
No padding. No padding.
They're the ones that do like that super intimidating get together, like that huddle that you just want to like. If you're the other team, you just run away right there. You know.
Well, the funny thing about Aussie, they call it footy, right? Australian rules, but they use their hands more than they use their feet because they're always like, you know, they have the ball and they sort of whack it with their.
So is this
their
rugby?
hand.
Or are we talking? Is this like what we call rugby? Is that? Oh
no, it's
already
different.
Out of the loop.
It's different. There's similarity though, but then there's our football, which, you know, is more like running and passing, has nothing to do with feet at all.
No.
Right.
What's up with that?
So soccer is technically the only thing that should be called football, which they do call football in Europe and in England.
That's exactly right.
I don't know. I've never really seen Australian rules football. Although whenever we're over there, each city has its colors and their team, and they're pretty serious about it, which they should be. You know, it's awesome to see all these different sports in different places that are very. Although I suppose football or soccer is probably the most universal of all the sports as far as around the world goes.
Yeah, so it looks like people are saying, things are starting to open up. Football, soccer starts in the Netherlands. Yeah,
I'd be curious to know what kind of what they're doing in like Australian rules football games in Australia. Does that mean there's a limited amount of capacity going on, or is it sort of straight up like game on? Or I'm very curious. We'll have to ask.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will
Elizabeth?
chime in on that. In the interim, we've got somebody waiting in the wings. We should probably get to. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
that's a wrap. Well, thanks for coming out, week 9.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, hang on
Well,
here.
hang on, I gotta
No,
put
we
my-
I'm a
got,
bit
we got,
nervous, actually.
we got
Hold
an
on.
intro.
Don't reveal the hat
little
yet.
intro
Don't reveal the
video
hat.
here because here's a guy that
Oh,
needs
okay.
really no introduction, and of course we've already said his name on our promo anyway, so it's not like it's a big surprise to anybody who's watching. So stick around. We're going to be right back with Mr. Kim Mitchell.
Hey, please welcome Mr. Kim Mitchell to the show.
Hi. How you doing, Corey?
Yeah.
Nice to have you, bro.
Brent, how you doing?
Good.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, what
How
a
you
trip.
guys been? I saw your one with Derry. That was great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, is it Derry has like he's like one of the best guitar players ever with the best sound too.
He
Right?
really, yeah, he's a really underrated guitar player. We've been saying that, but
Yeah.
you're no slouch yourself, sir.
Yeah.
I'm barely hanging on.
Oh, come on.
I
Actually,
swear.
I've been curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
to
you guys. Okay,
Go ahead.
you guys are musicians. I mean, you play all the time. Like, do you not come off stage sometimes and go, "Did I just start doing this like a week ago?" Like,
I know
right?
the feeling. Yeah.
I know you're like you come off stage and you kind of feel like. But the best thing is that somebody in the audience will walk up to you and go, "That was the best show of their life," and you go, "Oh, okay.
Sure.
Well, then I guess
Yeah.
I was."
Absolutely, it's about
Yeah.
customer service and rock and roll, right?
I like that.
Totally.
That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
So
Brent,
what?
the last time I saw you, we were in Winnipeg, right? Was it that baseball field you showed
Yeah.
up during
So
sound check?
Yeah, you were doing the big outdoor baseball stadium, and I happened to be in town, so of course
Was
I
that
wasn't
was that the
missing
Kenny
show.
Shields
That was awesome.
concert?
It was like middle of summer.
Okay.
It was the year after Kenny had passed, and then it was the show. It was you, Kim, and Tom Cochran, and made that day too. And
That's
and,
right. Yeah, they did. And you
Yeah.
know what was weird was that was when the fires in the Okanagan Valley, like so far away, and then that night they had traveled way up in, through the jet stream, and like when Tom Cochran came on, you could smell smoke everywhere.
Wow.
Now, that was from the fires out there, wasn't it? I mean, that wasn't someplace in Winnipeg. I don't think that was anything in
No,
Winnipeg.
I think it carried across the country. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
weird
like
time, right?
amazing.
All of BC was
Crazy.
was on fire. It was awful.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's not good. So
But
what? I guess we
Shane,
should
what do
really
you got
talk
to say
about.
for yourself? man?
Speak up, Shane.
It's like, last time, you're watching, you're checking out Tube Talks, and you guys are rapping away. Shane sits there like this.
I have my moments, I chime in now and then.
Okay.
Mike Miller. We had a drummer on last week that one of our favorite drummers for Shane and I, and basically we kind of monopolized the conversation. Hey, Shane?
I kind of felt guilty after that one because it felt like I was talking the whole time. But
It was drummers, so it was all about child support, deadbeat dad stuff.
Al's moan.
Yeah. Guitar players telling you what you should be playing.
Exactly.
You were with.
So how did? What's that?
I'm interviewing you guys.
No, go ahead. I want to hear. I want to hear what you have.
So you were with Bees, the
Yeah.
Japanese band. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my keyboard player, Sam Pamonte, was
that's right.
with them last year. Now you haven't been with them for a long time, but they're like the biggest Japanese band.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's coming up on 2 years now. But they did their last tour they did was with a different lineup. Prior to that, it was kind of like the same lineup for almost like 17 years. But yeah, Sam is great.
Yeah.
How long was he playing with you?
About a year. He was in Winnipeg with us, that gig. And then he said he got this job offer with this Japanese band. I mean, he speaks Japanese. He's a Japanaholic.
He's living there, right? No?
No, he's not. He's back in Canada because of COVID. He came back, and they were supposed to tour again, and he was going to leave, but I don't think. No, he didn't go over again. I think. Well, you guys know the music business has kind of stopped for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be in Japan right now on tour with Koshi. the singer from Bees, but
Oh,
that
yeah. A solo thing.
canceled
Oh.
the thing.
Yeah. And you were with Ingve too, right?
Yeah, back in the day, he was kind of like the first sort of international gig I got when I came down to LA. But yeah, 94, 95, I was with Ingve.
We did I think Sweden with him, and what amazed me, I thought, okay, I'm just going to see a shred fest. That's it, but I was blown away with how great the songs were. Like it was really wrapped around songs. That kind of surprised me. I just thought it'd be like shred fest.
Which era was that?
I can't remember.
Like what?
Sorry.
There's only one era with Ingve.
I started to okay.
He had multiple singers in the band, so
Yeah, the drummer was just this the whole time.
it was Mike. Yeah, that was probably
Who was it?
Mike Tirana could have been the drummer before me.
Yeah.
The early '90s would have been early '90s. Yeah.
So you were traveling with Ingve as the Kim Mitchell band. Is that what you're saying?
So we weren't traveling with him. We did a gig.
Okay.
Over in
Sweden Rock Fest or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He wouldn't remember. There's a few people I've spent time with that don't remember. Joe Walsh was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a funny story. He was going to produce Rockland.
Oh wow.
And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he goes, what's that noise in the background? Is that me?
It's not me.
Garbage man.
Could be a number of things here. You know what, guys? This has never actually ever happened to us before, but just to be on the safe side, I noticed our numbers dropped significantly because I guess Kim's got a great legal team, and in that video that we ran beforehand, we just got a notification from Facebook that it's being blocked in Canada. So we're just going to pause right now. We're going to come back live on a separate feed here because I don't think any of our Canadian viewers can see this. So,
no!
So just hang.
Wow.
So everybody.
We broke the laws.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
I tried to be nice and give you your own intro, but I guess you got. Well, it's telling me that we're blocked and our numbers dropped significantly. So.
I can see it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's because I'm on.
No.
Oh, it's Kim Mitchell.
Record.
I tend to do that.
Unless somebody else can confirm that everything's doing what it should.
Let's ask.
Anybody in Canada, you want to chime in there on the comments whether or not you can see us?
It's hard to tell when there's quite a few Canadians on here. I'm just not sure if when they were on.
Mm.
Well, if you guys go to the actual live video there, you should be able to see. I'm being shown a message saying it's blocked.
Oh,
Wow.
really? Wow. Well, it's hard for me to say because I'm in the States watching an American version of it.
Right.
So.
Well, we might be okay here. Let's
Right,
see if Buffalo viewers still here. Yeah.
Well, I see Lenny Crate. Lenny Crate
Okay,
from Winnipeg.
When I started to talk about Ingve with Shane, that's when the numbers dropped? I'm just trying to get a read on what to talk about, what not to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking
So
of
what's
which,
happening?
who was singing for Ingve back when you were with him, Shane?
It was Mike
Yeah,
Becerra.
see it just.
Sarah.
He probably did, I think, the Seventh Sign and then Magnum Opus, which was a record I did.
No.
That was
Those
I
are
was
the most Ingve sounding album titles too.
Magnum
Magnum Opus.
yeah.
I love it.
Hey, Kim, were you
It was that long
you
ago.
could be a singer or a guitar player? Because, Todd's story, I don't know if it's the same as yours, but, I think, Todd, you defaulted into being a singer, right? You didn't like,
Yeah.
how did
Yeah, when Max Webster started, I really didn't think about singing. I just had moved to Toronto to take guitar lessons. I was living on the Isle of Rhodes in Greece. And then you're thinking, okay, you're in Toronto here. You got to make $150 a week somewhere. So you start this band called Max Webster, and you're having your first rehearsals, and it's like, okay, who's singing? Like the bass player starts to sing, and Mike Felk. I'm like, okay,
But as long as your voice is kind of half there, you're like, okay, thank God.
yeah,
When your voice is
then
on,
and then when your sound man goes, hey, I taped it tonight. You wanna hear some stuff? It's like, no.
no,
I
thanks.
feel okay. I feel okay right now.
Well, that's the hardest one I think to hear back is the that dry vocal with no delay and no compression, just straight into a 57. Listening to that bone dry, it's hard.
Board mixes are brutal.
Oh, exactly.
And if your audience, if they don't know what a board mix is, that's just straight out of the sound man.
Yeah.
So we, yeah, exactly. We're getting some comments. So we fixed the issue. So we had a little bit of a momentary lapse there where people are going to want to catch up on. But yeah, I guess we got kicked out of Canada there for a few minutes, folks.
Canadians and their rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to be back.
So
yeah.
So sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. We.
What was it? You ran a video?
Well,
or
I put together a little, video montage. Tried to be fancy and got kicked out of the country.
Intro clip.
Out of Canada.
So I guess it said that Universal Music had claimed ownership of our video and wouldn't let people in Canada see or comment on it. So they acted pretty. They acted pretty quick on that. You got a good legal team behind you there.
So basically, you're saying the man.
The man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. That's the important.
That's right.
So basically, going back to what we were saying, though, you started as a guitar player. I assume that your skill level says that you sat in your room shredding, and I'm actually very curious as to what your background was, because I was talking to Sean Kelly. Sean Kelly plays guitar for Coney Hatch now in Crash Kelly. And he was saying, I know we were just kind of like discussing, and it's sort of like, because you just kind of come out of nowhere for those of us who are just, listening to music, and then one day Max Webster just exists. You're kind of like, I'm because the style of the band was so advanced as musicians. I don't know if you would call it prog rock or what you would call it, because it's just so much more musical, like, and everything. And I was kind of like, your style of guitar playing always struck me as like, Kim knows what he's doing. It's not just kind of like, plug it in, crank it up. It's sort of like there's some. Will you come from like a jazz background, or is there any of that?
No. Well, here in Ontario, you don't play jazz; you commit it. It's an offense. So, you can be arrested for that here in Toronto.
I like the one about I like playing jazz because I don't like playing in front of people. It's a good one.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No. I started really early, like before I was 10 years old on guitar.
Oh, wow.
And was taking lessons by about 11, was in my first band around 12, 13. We played this show. We played a couple little places and played this television show called Rita Bell's Starlit Stairway. We drove to Detroit and so we won a little stereo set and stuff like that. I was kind of nerdy. I was playing bass then on a 6-string guitar. I didn't even own a bass. Then parents got me a bass. I'll do this quick. My parents got me a bass, and then I played that for like a month and went, I don't like this thing at all. I want to go back to playing guitar. So I quit that band, and they took and meanwhile, it was a Fender P bass. Whatever year, that would be like an amazing instrument now worth what,
Yeah.
Muchos though, like lots of So, sort of fast forward, played in show bands, that kind of stuff, and then ended up living on the Greek island of Rhodes, backing up a Greek Tom Jones guy.
Wow.
This Greek guy but it was a paid vacation. I loved living on the island. It was great. The culture was awesome. Food was great. The gig was what it was. And then started to get homesick and nosing around. Like, do you know anybody who would want to start a band back in Toronto or back in Canada? And got Mike Toque's name, who was the bass player, Max Webster. And he was a school teacher and he wanted to move to Toronto and do the same thing. So got a hold of him, went back, but I had contacted a guitar teacher to study in Toronto. So I studied for about a year. That's my formal training was, and that's where I sort of learned that stuff is sort of the beginning of Max Webster. And then about a year into lessons, Max started to do this a little bit and gigged a lot and practicing as much as I had to kind of started to fall by the wayside a little bit. And it's been downhill ever since.
Which guitar players were you listening to in those days or studying?
Back then, well, the first, that was sort of back in the days of early John McLaughlin, Mahavishnu Orchestra, that sort of stuff. So I had landed in Toronto, and that was kind of the first album I heard. Somebody went, "Hey, you want to hear this?" And I was like, "What is this?" I never heard stuff like that before. So I got kind of interested in that a little bit. And I still
that makes sense.
Still don't know what I'm doing on it. I've never really learned how to commit jazz, but but I sort of did, got some chops together. But geez, it's funny. The guitar players I really admire don't do that at all. There's not a lot of chops involved. One of my favorite guitar players is Doyle Bramhall II.
I love that guy.
And you'll never hear him play a fast thing ever, but there's just so much mojo and grease in his playing, and I think that's where the magic is in music. It's you can have these chops, but so many times to me, and it's all great. Like listening to these guys, it's like, wow, the amount of work you really respect the amount of work that's being put in with these players, but sometimes it comes off like, hey, look what 10 grand at GIT got me. And as opposed to like, okay, well, Greg Wells, my producer, he said he studied music at Humber College, which is a college here in Toronto, for a few years. He said as soon as he got out, it took him a couple of years to unlearn what he had learned to sort of just play again. And so I don't know if I'm making any sense there, but
I think that makes total sense. Because I mean, that's the one thing about Max Webster is when I knowing that we were getting to talk to you, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to spend the week listening to the catalog. And I kept thinking to myself, there's really sort of
why am I doing this? It's like, can we cancel that guy?
Not at all. No, I kept thinking to myself how uncategorizable Max Webster was. I kept thinking like, I don't know that I could really explain to anybody what Max Webster sound like, because it's just very much sounds like Max Webster to me. It doesn't really sound like a whole lot of other things. I suppose when you say John McLaughlin or something like that, I might go, okay, well, if I went back and dug into that and dug into this, because your voice is so identifiable as well, it's sort of like, it always just sounds like, because we're so familiar with you through the entire catalog that you've done. When I go back and listen to the old stuff, I just go, wow, it's so interesting. It's so much more, what's the word? Ambitious and adventurous in its own way. Like you just didn't seem to like who cared about getting on the radio or anything like that.
Right.
Or formulas.
You strike a good point. I did really what that was I didn't know anything about the formatics of songwriting.
Sure.
It's just all about. I didn't care what a chorus was. I didn't care if there was a bridge. It was just more like, okay, where's this? Let's go on this journey here. And it wasn't until Rick Emmett sat me down one day and he goes, "Do you know about the formatics of songwriting? Do you know what a bridge is and what a chorus is?" And I'm like, "What? No." And he taught me about that stuff, and I thank him for it because I think I started to become a better songwriter then. Max Webster was a different thing, but then started to.
Well, it's definitely
songs. Right?
I suppose if I went back and actually paid attention to that entire thing, you probably would see that the songs started to kind of become more streamlined, I guess is the best way to say it, where they became, like you say, there's choruses, there's still experimental though.
Is that a bad thing?
Not at all. Not at all.
So let's. I got to ask. So, like a song like "Paradise Skies," had you been thinking that the more song structure after you wrote that? Because that is a absolute rock staple song on radio, which has proved the test of time. So that means it's a great frickin' song. And when I listen to it, it actually doesn't have standard formula, which is what I like about it. So, I mean, I had not had that. Yeah. And it changed my life because it was cool. It wasn't so formulatic, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for saying that. And you turned out good.
I would listen to that on 8-track, Rock 80, in my basement right now. And that was like my favorite song on for the longest time. And so my introduction to you was Paradise Skies,
Okay, so the talk I'm talking about learning about my songwriting lesson from Rick Emmett didn't happen until the beginning of my solo career.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's interesting too, because I wouldn't have guessed that, because the songs, by, say, Universal Juveniles, to me, always feels like it's really hinting at what's to come in its own way. Even though in some ways, look at that, Universal on cassette.
Hey, Kim, You still got like April in Toledo.
That's Let's not talk about record covers.
Where's this guitar?
We're the worst. Pardon?
This guitar was like, I always recognize you with that guitar on this album cover, but then later on, it's the guitar behind you. So is this guitar still used on a record, or is it mostly the guitar you've been using that's behind you?
Is that guitar white?
Yeah.
It's a white Strat?
White Strat.
I think I gave that to Carl Dixon of Coney Hatch.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I just, yeah. I might have sold it to him, but I don't think so. But.
there. How do you like that?
So how long have you had that guitar behind you?
That
one there.
I stopped counting. It's 40 years. That came from here we go. We can talk about gear for 3 minutes, and then the reason why I say this, we have this gentleman's dinner we have here in Toronto. It's just a bunch of musicians that were not with COVID now, but before all that hit, we get together once a month and have a gentleman's dinner at an Italian restaurant where you can get a pile of food like this for $11. So
Nice.
we go to this place. Mind you, at 2 a.m, I'd always wake up, I need grasping for Tums and stuff like that. I won't say the name of the restaurant. They're nice people. And it's a great hang. But when we would get together, these gentlemen dinner, we would say, okay, we get 5 minutes. We get like 3 minutes to talk about your health. And then we're moving on. Because when musicians get together now, it's like, I got lower back pain now. So all those years of wearing these shoes, it's like, and it's like, okay, we're done. Let's talk about something else.
You need a little chest timer.
Exactly. So if we're going to talk about gear, we can do it for let's put a time limit on it. Because people, you know what it's like in a dressing room.
Yeah.
After the show and there's guests there, and all of a sudden, a few of us are like what was that guitar, man? That sound is like, all of a sudden people are like, yeah, okay, where's the pizza?
It sort of kills the party, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Because this is important, and it's right there, right beside you.
It was a Gibson 347, which is a 345.
Wow. Which part of that was a Gibson?
This and this.
Oh,
This
wow.
switch. This switch is a coil tap, and all the electronics inside are from a Gibson.
Wow.
And I didn't like the Gibson, and I put different pickups in it, and I took all the guts out, and I just threw them in a drawer in my house. And Ken Newfield, the tech at the time that I had, he said he saw the stuff. He's over at my house, and he saw all the stuff. He goes, "What's all this stuff?" I said, "Oh, it's the parts from the Gibson that I didn't like playing." He goes, "Let me build a guitar." I said, "Oh, you can do that?" And he said, "Yeah." Well, go buy a neck and a body. And so I went to a music store and just picked that out in like 5 minutes and went, there you go.
Amazing.
He put it together, and I strummed like 2-3 chords at a sound check. I had a college gig. We're doing a college gig. And my sound man came up, and he was shaking. It was just like, that thing. He says, "You're going to play that today." He says, "That guitar just sits so well in the band. It's ridiculous." But I retired it last year because I just have other pieces that I'm not sure. I just kind of lost the love for it.
That happens.
Yeah, it does.
We all do that.
So Kim,
So what I'm thinking, okay, I'll shut up in a minute. So what I'm thinking is I'm being inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame.
yeah.
When COVID's done, and they want something to put in. It's in Calgary, right? Yeah. So they want something. So I might donate. That.
Really?
I'm not saying I will. I'm saying thinking about it. So
you can go get like an Epiphone for $200 and give it to them. Here you go. Whatever.
well, it's so funny that stage happened where people were like, "I can build that guitar," and I was getting these guitars and the pickups were like $3, and I was just like, wow, it looks like it, but it sounds like ass.
Interesting. Yeah.
Anyway.
There's mojo in that guitar, and the fact that we've seen you, all of us have seen you play that guitar as long as we've been watching you play. That's a trip. It's a piece of history.
It's as much as your silly OPP hat is.
Exactly.
That guitar record like a Kimboa logo, the record.
No, Kimbo logo was a regular Strat.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely has
that,
that. Yeah, the Strat thing in
this guitar was rarely used on record.
interesting.
For a standard Strat, I have just a standard American standard Strat.
And is that the Strat that was on the intro to Go for Soda?
The standard Strat, American standard Strat. Yeah, it's a Sunburst. I've had it for a long time. I'm not sure how long, Corey, but sort of just my go-to thing, and a Marshall. I have my Marshalls here. Actually,
you should see how much Corey kills himself to nail that guitar sound off the top of Go for a Soda every time.
It actually
time, right, Corey?
What's that?
Remember, we spent a lot of time analyzing that and going back and forth.
We really, really did to try.
First of all, Corey, you guys, I was listening to it just the other day because I knew I was going to do this. And I was like, man, like these guys do it better than I did. That's for sure.
I don't know about that.
No.
Well, you know how people do well, along my musical journey, I've heard bands do the odd cover, and I was honestly blown away. There was kind of this beautiful mojo in it, and an accuracy, but it was great. I was really
it's all out of love for sure.
It's probably one of our most famous favorite songs to play live, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Goes
it's
over
a slam dunk.
When I was learning that part, I wanted it to be exactly right, and it's kind of a complex part, right? I mean, I don't know how you came up with that, but I would put it on Pro Tools, and I would go like 2 16th notes at a time, just to get all the percussive ups and all that stuff. Like, how did you come up with that part? And I hope I got it close.
Is it? Okay, I don't know if you'll hear this. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
And then.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, you got it. I know you do.
All right.
We're going to get kicked out of Canada again now.
In the solo, I bounce it a bit more now, though. You know, a little more playing around with it.
Okay.
In the World of Giants.
I can't.
Gonna call out. He's gonna get requests now. It's all requests.
How long did it take you? I'm curious to know, Kim. How long did it take you to record In the World of Giants? Do you remember?
That was like a couple. Back then, we'd do a couple takes. That was it.
Amazing.
I was, kind of had it. We played all the time, Shane.
Right.
And when you're playing all the time, your chops you get to know it well. Now to sit there, I haven't played that song in decades, so it wouldn't be fair to. I mean, it would be terrible. You guys would go. You know what? I don't think that was him on the record. Did you hear that?
It's interesting because that particular song, was quite the innovation, from a groove standpoint. I mean, prior to that, there was I think Billy Cobham kind of had a double kick kind of shuffle.
Yeah,
and maybe
with a like a fast.
Was it 7?
Yeah.
And then also Simon Phillips had a similar groove.
Sure.
What was it called? Was it Star Cycle with Jeff Beck? It was a double bass shuffle, but I mean, Universal Juveniles, that's 1980, right? So you probably wrote that 79, whatever, somewhere around then.
Yeah.
Just a long time ago. And it's interesting because I remember learning that song back when I moved to Calgary in my first band. And that was one.
Oh, okay.
Let's play this in the bar.
Yeah. You mentioned groove. I think we had a little bit of trouble with parts of that song actually grooving. And it's not a reflection on Gary or anything like that, Gary McCracken, the drummer. And we brought in the piano player to smooth out a section.
Oh, wow.
Doug Riley had this amazing groove and we told Jack Richardson, you hear this? It's sounding really stiff. He goes, I'll fix it. And he called up Doug Riley, the late Doug Riley, piano player in Toronto. And he just kind of played this piano part through and I was just like, wow, there it's fixed. Okay, thanks.
It's an
amazing. Funny one. Yeah, it's funny. It's sort of like the little cover up, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's all part of the thing, you know. It's like
Yeah.
So, Kim, talking
yeah.
about,
And I would-
sorry, just got somebody online here asking, and now we were talking about these guys doing their version of Go for Soda. Scott had a comment online and was asking, and if this is true, it's absolutely news to me. He's saying, ask about David Lee Roth covering one of your songs for Eat 'Em and Smile, and was it recorded, and has anybody heard it?
True story. It is a true story.
It is a true story. It is a true story from, you hear it from Billy Sheehan. He was in the band at the time. And that was a pretty, I've had a lot of surreal moments in my life. And one of them was when Joe Walsh phoned my house. And the other one was when Billy Sheehan phoned the house and went, I'm sitting here recording with David Lee Roth's band and with Ted Templeman, and we're recording Kids in Action. He says, do you have the lyrics to the second verse? Because we're having I'm like, what? I said, who is this? And he goes, no, it's it. And so I was like, yeah, sure. Here they are. And they wrote them down. And apparently they recorded it, but it got bumped by Tobacco Road.
Right.
Oh, no way.
I can't believe that
Well,
version has not
Tobacco.
surfaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It must be on 2-inch somewhere because Billy Sheehan sent me the track sheet. He said, I wanted to show you that this thing was recorded. He says, I don't know where it is, but he says, for some reason I have a track sheet. So,
Wow, that's so crazy.
yeah, it's kind of neat.
Billy was a big fan, Max Webster fan.
Yeah, he was in the band actually for 2 weeks.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know. Wow.
He was in the band. He was in the band until we did Diamonds.
Really? Wow.
And then what?
And there was like, this is Billy Sheehan on Diamonds. And it's like, you know, Billy's like,
Oh, no.
you know, you blast into High Class and Borrowed Shoes, and Billy's like, wow, this is like, I could just like stop playing guitar, and it's like, this is plowing along. And then Diamonds was just like, all of a sudden the chemistry didn't feel right, and he felt it too. It's okay, it's all okay, you know.
Right.
I love the guy. I'm so
you
happy.
knew him from like the New York thing, like when he was in Tallis and all that?
Yes, yeah. Tallis would come to Toronto and play a couple little bars.
Of course.
Yeah.
No.
You know,
Those
and
guys
he's
are
done well,
awesome.
right?
Oh yeah, he's done just fine for himself.
Yeah.
So what was it like? I always wonder this because when someone comes from something, Max Webster is a gang, it's a band, you're in a band, you get to, and then all of a sudden it's like now you're just Kim Mitchell. Was that a trip? Like, was that like really like scary at all, or that kind of like had that sort of transition been gradual enough to kind of go, okay, I'm ready to do this by myself, kind of thing?
No. I jumped ship pretty quick. Yeah. Just it happened pretty quick. I think it was in Memphis, and just got kind of sick of being Rush's little opening band. You know what I mean? I was grateful we did that for years and years and years, and had a lot of. But it was just like this. You know, you do need the love from your management, the push from your management. I just didn't feel like it was happening, and I was kind of creatively burned out too.
Sure.
And I thought, I'm just going to take a year off. Like I'd saved some money. I'd saved enough money, and I sort of did the numbers. Okay, I got an apartment. I do this, and okay, I could do this. And I was just creatively burned out. So it kind of happened pretty quick.
That's amazing.
And then I was ready to just join a band after a little while. I was at home writing this stuff from the mini album and the first album.
Yeah.
Just had a little keyboard stuff and a little guitar amp and doing that, and thought, I'll just join a band. Maybe Honeymoon Suite will need another guitar player. No, I'm serious. And then I didn't get a call.
Right.
So I just thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just try to start something.
That's great. So, you know, we were all talking about this before, and we were all like, the most interesting thing about, not the most interesting thing, but one of those things that's always mysterious, and I think what separates a lot of the songs in the first place was Pi Dubois wrote these lyrics, and we're always kind of like, somebody was just telling us about Pi Dubois. Who was it? They were just telling us about Pi standing in the audience.
I think it was Andy Curran.
Andy Curran was saying that he saw Pi came to a show, a Coney Hatch show, and he was just writing in the audience, and they thought, oh, wow, somebody from the Toronto Star's here. We're getting a review. And it turned out it was Pi Dubois writing, and he just happened to be writing lyrics. And I'm always fascinated by the idea in the same way that Bernie Taupin or any of those kind of how did that work? Is that like he put lyrics to music, or you took lyrics and turned it into a song, or how does that work?
Well, you imagine you're reading an astrology book one day, and I'm a Cancerian, and it says, Cancerians, you'd make a shitty poet. And so I was like, well, there goes lyric writing for me. And even I tried it for one or two Max Webster songs, but Pi was a friend from Sarnia, Ontario, where we grew up, and he just carried little guitar cases, and he's this dude around, and he goes, yeah, I kind of write once in a while, and started to show me things, and I still didn't think too much of it until when I lived on the Isle of Rhodes in Greece, and he came over to travel Turkey and travel around that area, and he says, you're in Greece. He said, I'll drop in and say hello. It was really weird too. Like, no, he found this apartment in the city of Rhodes, like just by asking people, like, I'm looking for a couple. Oh, the Canadian musicians. I think they might be over there in that building. I don't know. He walked in an apartment which is my apartment, open and down a hall to a bedroom, and open up my bedroom. It's just like, you look up and you go, what? How did this happen? So we wrote our first tune there. And,
wow.
And when I got back to Toronto, we started Max Webster. I called him up. I said, when you come back, let's start writing some stuff. Because Max was doing a lot of cover stuff. Sorry,
was he just a lyricist, or did he actually have music ability as well?
No.
Nothing.
He was a poet. And I'll be honest. Full disclosure, it wasn't an easy thing to do because he was a poet. He was an imagist, actually. He didn't tell stories. Everything was imagery. And he was great at it. He was great at jamming with the English language, but to put his stuff into music and get a rhythm going, get a thing going, it was difficult. And he was very, very strong on like, no, you can't change that word. I'm like, well, I have to. I can't fit in 5 syllables. And so there was a lot of that creative bumping around, So
right, yeah.
But we turned out some pretty wacky shit.
Well, that's the thing, is it was so definitive by talking about the sound of Max Webster. The lyrics too are just sort of like, well, no one wrote lyrics like this. And I'm always fascinated by the idea, because usually a guy writes a song and he goes la 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 la, and then he puts words to the la 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 la. But the idea of taking, like you're saying, like sometimes it's a line that's this long and you're trying to wedge it into this much room. But I suppose Geddy did that with Neil's lyrics, which has always been a fascination of mine too. Like, how did that work? Like, did they just try and work all those words into songs, or how did that work? But it's really interesting to see that you could do that.
It works both ways, Todd. It's with Go for Soda. It was at a party, and we were just really bored, him and I. I said, I've had enough. You know how the scene, the schmoozing's like, I've had enough of this. He goes, let's go. He says, let's go for soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries. I'm just like, whoa, stop.
Really? Wow.
No way. And he said, I said, write that down. He grabbed a napkin off a table and he picks up a piece of paper and he goes, he says, I got 1 million of them. He goes, nobody drowns, nobody dies. Better than slander. It's better than life. And, that's how things would happen for him. So when Andy Kern said he was in the audience writing, he would do that. He'd be writing all the time. He'd be writing backstage. He'd be writing on the road. He'd be writing in coffee shops.
So would he travel with you guys? Like, did he actually go on the road with the band?
Sometimes. Yeah, he liked to consider himself the 5th member.
Sure.
And he was a big contributor to Max Webster's sound, right? Sadly, we had a falling out a long, long time ago. I still don't really know what happened, but all I know is I got a letter from a lawyer one day. It says, Pi Dubois wishes no further contact with Mr. Mitchell. And I was like,
no way.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what went on, but so that was after Itch. The solo album Itch.
Right.
This could be like our Canadian Geraldo, and we've got him right here waiting. Bring him on.
Let's bring in Pi now. Wow.
That's
and so
amazing.
that wasn't your only real important alliance in your life. Obviously, then you had Peter in the band, and how did you meet him, and how did that whole thing?
Peter in the band.
Yeah, Peter. Well, that was a solo career, and I think there was a friend of his that was around in a studio where we were recording it. I think it was in Oshawa we were recording, and I said, boy, I need another guy in the band here, a bass player. Do you know a bass player? And maybe a guy who sings. And he goes, yeah, I got a guy. I said, can he sing? He goes, yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And then Pete comes down. That was 37 years ago. Came walking into the studio and started singing. And I was like,
Wow. Yeah.
so I kind of resigned. I've said this on stage before. I kind of resigned right at that moment that I would yell and he would do the singing. So he's like a big sound of the band, kind of like a Kenny Greer, Tom Cochran, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's the yin to your yang for sure. I think
Tell
that's,
Kim your Peter story.
Who?
Tell Kim the.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So when I first joined the Shania band, we were still looking for another guitarist who could sing, and so I said, well, you can get Peter Fredette. Like, if you get him, you won't have to look any farther. And you know, I've seen him play bass. I've seen him play keyboards. He plays probably guitar, I think, right?
Yeah.
And he sings, and he's just an amazing singer. And so they actually did get him down.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Audition. Yeah.
And Shania was familiar with, being a Canadian.
She was familiar.
knows. Yeah.
She did. She. Was that it?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I was going to add that I was mad that I didn't actually get to meet him at that time, knowing that I was responsible for him getting the audition, and I would love to meet him. But I think she actually went down with him into the gym, and that's where they sang together for a bit and stuff. And for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know what happened there, but for whatever reason.
I think it was at the studio. I think he said he went to the studio, and when they met, she started singing "All We Are."
Okay.
There you go.
She started singing "Don't Ask Me If I'm Still Here."
It's one of her favorite
he was
songs.
Like, oh. And he was like, "Oh my God!" So, it was pretty. What a great moment,
Amazing.
I've been with her at, I don't know, parties or after shows or whatever, and we will play Canadian music, and when "All We Are" comes on, she just has to stop and she just, it's like her breath is being taken away. Oh my God, you listen to him sing.
Moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm well aware of the. Listen to that Peter Fredette thing. As a matter of fact, the number of times you finish a show and the dressing room door knocks back in it. There's like some beautiful women at the door, and you're like, "Hi." They're like, "Hi, is Peter here?"
Yeah, but the guitar solo in "All We Are" is pretty epic too. When you were talking about simple notes and instead of shredding, like that song could be one of the best.
It's perfection.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, thank you.
The groove, the groove is so good.
And the only reason why we haven't tackled that song, because we all want to do it, is because it's just way too intense. It's that. Well, I mean. We've never really tried, but it's like
you have the parts. You have the parts.
It's that untouchable thing. Like, oh my God, if we do it, then we really have to commit.
You don't want to screw it up. That's for sure.
Kim, is that song the litmus test for drummers being in your band? Like, if they can actually play "All We Are"? Because I would say all us drummers discuss how great of a piece of music that is, but the drum part is really well orchestrated. It's not easy. Like
it's not. That's especially after the first verse. There's like a weird triplet. And deceived down to
the kick drum.
There's this weird kick that I look at drummers and go. And when they nail it with groove, it's like, wow, that's really good. I mean, there's so many great drummers, so come on, you guys are
had them all. You've had a lot of great musicians in your bands, and the fact that Greg Wells is such a huge producer guy that was in your band. It's like, we were talking about Peter's amazing, and I even love Stan that plays bass with you sometimes too. Is great.
Stan, once a year, Peter always insists on going on a holiday, and there's usually a gig, and he loves going to this cottage with his family, and I never say a word. He's like, "Don't worry, Stan." And Stan is a great player. He walks in and he's that guy that just doesn't mess up. He just walks in and like, And I come off stage and I'll look at Dave Langeth, our drummer, or something, and go, did he play any wrong? Like, did he play one wrong note even? And he's like, no, he didn't. How does he do that? Because there's no rehearsal. He's like, shows up at the airport with his gig bag. Hi, guys. You know? It's like, do you want to run anything? He goes, no, let's just do it at sound check. You know, if I have a couple of questions, I'll let you know. I'm like, okay.
So speaking of perfection and your love for album covers, as you talked about, I don't know if these guys told you, but prior to the release of the first record, we were throwing around ideas, and Todd came up with a good one. We're going to show to the audience here now, unless you have a copy of it on your screen. But yeah, check this one out. If you look to the feed, yeah, exactly.
Late on here.
Is it the picture where Todd is wearing
it
the
is,
hat?
yeah.
Okay.
I'll see if I can pull it up on my phone here. I just showed everybody online.
When I first got this hat, they had to take a picture to the Akimbo logo, you know, with the cigarette, the whole thing. Yeah, we did. We mocked it up. Yeah, it was. I got a lot of chicks with that look, though. I don't know.
Hey, I'm interested.
Glad it worked for you, man.
I'm interested to know where the video was shot for All We Are.
Shot.
Oh, yeah.
I think some of it was probably CN Tower, it looks like.
Yeah, some of it, CN Towers. But if you know CN Tower at all, there's the big thing up top, and then above that there's a smaller one. And we were on the one above. We had to sign a release form that says, if you get blowed off.
With both bands, people that don't really know, because we have a lot of people that follow from other places, but Battlescar was Max Webster in its entirety, with Rush in its entirety, playing at the same time, with yourself and Geddy singing.
Just like you can do with Zoom now.
There you go. You didn't have to go to the studio.
What we did back then.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Was
it
were on
technically live?
Yeah, it was all live. It was live.
Really?
Yeah, we were touring with them a lot, and they would. A couple things went down. Neil would play with us every night behind the scrim.
Oh wow!
While we were doing our set as an opening band, Neil would be back there, and so on stage we hear two drummers, and he'd be playing our whole set because that would be his warm up. And then when we played Battlescar, Geddy and Alex would always come to the side of the stage and watch that song. So then they approached us one night and were like, if you guys ever record that, we'd like to come to the studio and do it with you. And we're like, did they just say that? You know? Rush? Okay, so we did and
amazing.
Got it together. I think it was the first time we'd worked with 2 tape machines and, syncing all that stuff up. There was a bit of technical crap that had to get worked out back then, which got worked out. It all ran really smooth. That's take one on the record.
Oh, wait.
We went through rolls and rolls and rolls of tape. We were having such a great time playing it. We thought, we can do it better. We can do it better. You know what it's like. I think we did like a dozen takes, and then
amazing.
I could see them losing interest in the control rooms. So, they're like,
yeah.
We went in and went, what take is it? They said, we'll play you a couple that we think are great. And we all love take one.
Amazing.
So, and then Geddy and I, we just put our vocal on after that because I think we might have been singing live, but there's so much. It sounded like in the studio, guys. It sounded like a 747 taking off. It was like
I bet.
2 bands, like Marshalls, and it was just like there's no baffling that there's a lot of bleed going on in that song. So.
It sounds amazing, though. Yeah.
Sounds great, though, even with all that bleed.
Oh.
And talking about iconic production, though, I mean, tell me, because every single time I've ever listened to this song throughout my life, it's the one thing that stands out. Doing Go for a Soda, please tell me you had a guy like Christopher Walken as Bruce Dickinson walking around and say, I gotta have more ride cymbal. I gotta have more ride cymbal. I mean, was that your Blue Oyster moment there?
Dude, that sort of like Paul DeLong, the drummer on that, had this ride cymbal that thing when he'd hit the bell, you could hear it into different area codes of the province.
It's become such an iconic sound.
That I think the symbol went to the Sabian factory as a.
Gosh,
Really?
Yeah, I think it's there now.
Amazing.
But one day in Toronto, you're in Toronto, you're down in the financial part of Toronto, Bay Street downtown. You're getting a hot dog after one of those carts. And you're putting your mustard on it, and all of a sudden you hear in the distance, clang, 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 clang. And I was like, that sounds like the bell from Go for Soda. And you wait, and there's this Trans Am coming up the street, and it's getting louder and louder. Like 2 blocks away.
It's the first thing you hear.
that is so great.
Run out in front of his car, went, "Hey, that's me. Hey, I'm saying."
He's like, no, the cow, but the ride symbol. That's the important.
Exactly.
Hey, so I wanted to mention for Todd and I, we had one of our most selfish, greatest moments to when we played together with you, Kim, in Belleville when we were with Slash, and you were kind enough to invite Todd and I up to play with you. But I just wanted to let you know that we never actually arranged that with our boss that day. We just sort of, I think Todd and I we were warming up. And we just, it was fine. It was just, we snuck out and went and we played Battlescar with you. And I think,
Rock and Roll Duty.
And I think we went back into the dressing room and Slash kind of said something like, "Hey, where'd you guys go?" And I don't think he did.
I actually had that clip ready to go here, but I don't dare show it because I don't want to, mess up our broadcast again.
Show it at the end.
That was one of the, there's so many highlights that I can think of during my career, and that was definitely one of them. And so thanks for doing that, you guys. It was like, wow, this just sounds so powerful. And then what sort of blew me away too, well, didn't sort of blow me away, was Slash sounded so great. It was I remember standing out in front for sound check, and I was like, this is just, there's just so much rock washing over me right now. His guitar sound and his playing and the mix, the sound man had the mix. I was just like, wow, it can't get any better than this. It was just one of those moments in life where you go, I'm going to just remember this forever. You get just so plowing, guys.
I love that. Rock and roll's alive.
Am I staying too long here? Like, is
not
there
at all.
I was just about to say, I mean, we've talked a lot about what you have done, but tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and what people can expect once things get back to normal.
This is the wrap it up section. Okay. Hey, what can we expect?
No.
In radio, I did radio for a while, and I've been interviewed a million times, and then I was on radio, and if I were to say have any sort of moment with announcers, like in front of them doing a whatever you call it, a seminar, it would be like there's a couple questions never ask a musician, because don't ask them who are your influences,
right,
and then so what can we expect from the show tonight?
Right.
How you guys have been asked these questions, right?
Oh yeah.
Totally.
So and to me it tells me, it just reeks of I'm not prepared. I don't really know who you are, and so just
right
about it. I don't know, what was the question again. I went off in that rant.
We're giving you an opportunity to tell everybody what you've been up to lately and what's going to happen.
Well, lately, because of COVID, this morning I woke up at 6. I walked the dog, and then I tried to do a plumbing repair. You know the sink in your bathroom where you brush your teeth and you hork and you do, like there's been a lot of years of singing and yelling, and it doesn't drain anymore. So you do it, and just that's an ugly thing. So I did that. And I think it's
back to your dog walking. I don't know if everybody here knows, but I didn't know.
Oh, you mean in the future? Okay.
Tell everybody what your dog's name is. Yeah,
Webster.
isn't that a great name, yeah.
But he was Webster when I found him. When we found him, I was in a relationship at the time.
That was just a really weird coincidence.
How fortuitous.
Yeah, you're in a relationship at the time, and your girlfriend's like, "I need a dog. I want to have a dog." So you go get this dog. She says, "Let's go look at this dog. He's a golden doodle." And you walk in, you see the dog, and like, okay, sure, he's cute. Does he have a name? You're like, yeah, his name's Webster. I'm like,
That's hilarious.
oh,
well, I can't go home now without that dog. It's a sign.
she left, but the dog stayed.
That's a country song. That's a country song for sure.
It's fine. It's fine. Before COVID, I finished a brand new record with Greg Wells. That's I'm really proud of it. And then I did 3 weeks of gigs. Then COVID hit, and so I've been doing what everybody else is doing, kind of nothing. But I rarely pick up the guitar and stuff. I kind of, I hit the ground running at 17. I left home at 17 and been hard at it ever since. And so this is the first time in my life I sort of dropped my shoulders and went, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to go out and cut little bushes in the backyard, walk the dog. I'm going to try and fix plumbing. By the way, that plumbing thing, I had to call a plumber. I could do it. No, I could do it. I got it all cleaned out, but then when I put it back, it was like, it was all leaking. So,
I had a similar situation yesterday with my sewer. Actually, it backed up, and I had to get thought I could snake it out by myself, but I had to. Ended up, the neighbor came over with his industrial snake.
Wow.
For me as I just kind of watched him going.
Neighbor just had to have an industrial snake on hand.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
He's got everything over there.
Yeah, I mean, when you move into a neighborhood, it's like, does this guy next door have an industrial snake? Okay, I'll buy the house. Yeah. Was there a tree or something in the piping?
We never actually figured out what it was, but probably there was some kind of growth from some root that got in there, and yeah.
That might be temporarily fixed, though, Ben. You know that, right?
Yeah.
They may have to dig that up.
Add stuff every couple weeks, apparently, to kill the roots.
We always have the best conversations here.
Sucks.
It was fun. It was fun. There's a certain charm about doing that stuff.
What are you guys doing? You did a record, didn't you?
Yeah, we're working on stuff, but we've been trying to write in basically how we're talking right now. We've been writing songs in like this bizarre new world that we live in. Hopefully, we'll all be able to be in a room together someday. That'd be fascinating.
Yeah. I love Dave Grohl's description. I'm sure you guys know it, right? He says, these all these concerts. He says they look like front door security cameras.
It's true.
They really do, yeah.
That's exactly it.
So is Peter on the new album and stuff? Like, is it your regular band? And
singing a little bit. No, it's not the regular band. Peter's singing on it. Greg Wells is the drummer.
Oh, interesting. Very cool.
And Greg Morrow, who I've worked with before too. Greg Morrow's a Nashville guy.
Yeah.
He was on Ain't Life Amazing and Itch. And just a pile of people. I got some horns on it here and there. The first single is going to come out on the 26th of this month.
Exciting.
Plug.
Exactly. You got to plug, baby.
It's great that there's new music.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a long, I don't know how you guys feel, but my journey is over with it. You make the record. It's a wonderful journey. It's a pain in the ass. Everything about recording is a pain in the ass, but it's also got great moments, and you get to where you love it. I mean, that's all we do is try to get our music to where we love it. Then after that, you just take it out back and shoot it because, because the party's over. It's like, okay, it's going to get released. And there's nothing you can do to, okay, you're going to answer questions about this and that, but how people like it, or it could be here today, gone 2 minutes later. We don't know. But I had a wonderful time making it because we're artists, right, guys? And
absolutely.
It's about we're here to keep creating, and that's because that's what we sort of have to do. And
where did you record that? Where were you actually physically doing it?
Greg
There's a dog running.
Yeah, that's my two huskies. They're always running around in the back. So
Big Kim fans.
Sleep on the couch here. Greg.
Well, he has his dog there too.
Greg Wells, producer, he visited me here in Toronto after I had my health scare, heart attack 4 years ago. And I gave him I said, I'm giving you the USB key of shame here, buddy. And I said, just if you can give me some feedback on these tunes or a tune, whatever you want. And he got back to me. I missed his first email because one night, I'm like in bed, and I hear your phone go, and I look, and it's like Greg Wells. It says, I'm sorry if my enthusiasm was overwhelming to you. And what's he talking about? And I go back an email that I had missed, and he said, this shit's great. Come to Los Angeles. I want to fucking record it. So I went down 3 times to his place in Los Angeles, and the Greg Wells studio, and there it is, Rocket Carousel. He's not in it anymore. But it was amazing. Oh my God, it was so much fun. He taught me so much, because he's had so much experience and so much success.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Just one moment of recording, I was like, I mentioned something. Hey, I'm not too sure that should be like that. And he stopped me and he went, that doesn't sound like you. That sounds like somebody on the outside is talking to you. That he says there's some other voice. He goes, if we're in here making music, it's you and I that we're putting that together. Don't let it get us outside. So it was stuff like that,
That's very cool. That's very
and
cool.
the line I said, just get it to where you love it. That's all we need try to do. He says, any success I ever had, we was trying to get a song to where I like it. He said it was always first 1, 2, 3 takes. That was it.
Sure. You know what? Are you doing voiceover work? I read something recently that you're actually doing voiceover stuff in an animation show or something like that. Is that a true story?
No.
No?
But I start anytime.
There you go.
Oh yeah, you'd be awesome at that.
That's probably some confusion from your radio days, which it must have been really fun being able to be on that side. Was that like suddenly you had to now I got to get up at and show up at a place like a job essentially? I mean, that must have been a whole other experience.
You nailed it. I thought maybe Sunday nights I'd do something because I was kind of thinking of doing something else, and they went, well, our afternoon drive guy quit. Would you like a full-time job? And I said, does that mean I have to come in every day? And like, yeah. So they treated me really nice. It was good. I met a lot of cool musicians, came in and played and stuff. Who I always find the really big ones were salt of the earth. Sammy Hagar.
Right. Yeah.
Great people. It was an awesome time in radio.
That's so
for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
The guy who blew me away though was Jay Buchanan of Rival Sons. Rival Sons came in one day. I mean, here it's like a classic rock station. You're like, Rival Sons, who's that? Who's Kim got coming in? And they sang, like Jay sang like this far from the microphone, and we had them playing live in my studio, like amps and shit. And he was like this far back, and he was still like blasting through the mix, and I could hear him right. I mean, God, that guy's ridiculous.
They are amazing.
Singers. There's so many great rock singers. That rock singer, the Paul Rogers and the Steve Marriott's and those sort of rock guys. Mike Reno, Canadians.
Sure.
Rob, Utah.
Oh, star.
No, seriously, there's some, great stuff. But he's like one of those dudes,
He's amazing.
So when can we expect your album to drop?
26th of this month, I'm going to release the first single.
My birthday.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You'll be surprised.
It's not only my birthday, it's my 50th birthday.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Corey. Yeah.
You made it.
I made it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Big 5-0.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's when it's coming out. So great, man.
Very exciting.
Okay, well, I've overstayed my welcome, I'm sure.
Yeah, we should let you get back to life. You got to get back to Webster and hanging out and having fun.
I gotta go pick up more crap tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, by all means, yeah.
Potting.
Okay.
Dude, you know, Darren. It's like it doesn't matter who you think you are. Within the first 15 minutes of every day, you're picking up dog shit, right?
I have a teenage son that lives at
Gotta
home,
put
so
you
he
in your-
gets paid very well to do it.
There you go. There you go.
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Kim.
you, Kim.
What
So
an
awesome.
honor, man.
Good to see
All
you
right.
all.
Thanks so much for hanging with
I
us.
hope we all get
Yeah, we'll see you
Get
next
all
time.
the gigs sometime.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see the rest of you guys next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kim.
So look for
Big-
Kim's new CD and celebrating Corey's Big 5-0, and we'll talk to you guys same time next week, Tuesday. Any idea who we got on next week?
Did you know, Corey, that Kim had planned that entire thing to make a record to release on your birthday? That's pretty nice of Kim.
That is
Thank
very
you for
nice of him.
What's the album
Yeah.
called? The Big 50? The Big 5-0?
that. The Big
Big
5-0. Exactly. Yeah. I think he called it Moose
There
Jaw.
you go.
Moose Jaw.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask him if he's got a song on the album called "Fuck Soda, Let's Have a Beer."
Yeah, exactly.
We should have asked him because as Canadians, we refer to, I don't know if it's universally referred to, but on the prairies, we always called soda pop.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We
Yeah,
all in agreement? It's
that's
called
true.
pop.
Yeah,
So the term soda
very Americanized.
is a very American term, but I'm wondering, is that commonly? You grew up in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Was it called pop where you came
always
from,
pop.
Darren?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but that part of Ontario, it dips down below the border,
Correct.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
There you
pretty
go.
close
There you
to
go.
pretty close. But yeah, no, it's always been pop.
So-
Yeah. I mean, remember Pick a
Sarnia
Pop?
is
Pick a Pop was the big thing, and yeah,
Totally.
Oh yeah.
There was also the pop shop.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
At pick a pop.
Well, it's those same things like we talked about, because we have pop and chocolate bars, and you guys have soda and candy bars. So yeah.
Candy bars, exactly. Yeah, no, that's something I've learned in being down here. If I'm sitting somewhere and someone says chocolate bar, the English say chocolate bar as well. So
Yeah, which is
but when I hear that, I go Canadian.
the Queen's English, exactly.
You know who else is from Sarnia? Reuben Kincaid.
No way.
Like from the
Partridge Family.
Get out.
I know every Winnipegger, Darren. You know how we all know each other, whatever. And I wanted what? Oh, Keith Gordon's here. Keith Gordon. There you go. Winnipeg.
Hello.
my God,
Hey, Keith.
the legend.
Each other. And I thought, well, does everyone from Sarnia know each other? And Reuben Kincaid, I think what's his name? Don Madden, Dave Madden, that actor.
Actor's name.
Sarnia.
So he was the manager. Reuben Kincaid was the manager of the Partridge Family on the TV show. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't there a talking lion from Sarnia as well?
That's
oh,
Narnia,
Oh no,
yeah.
that's Narnia.
Hatfield, right?
Whole other thing. Yeah. I think there's a series of books about
The Chronicles of Sarnia,
no.
including your scabies story.
Walk in space. First Canadian to walk in space, I think.
And
First Canadian to walk in space was from
And
Sarnia.
commander of the space station
3 flights.
from Sarnia.
When was that?
Yep.
When was that?
I don't know.
Is Keith Gordon doing some sort of like research
Yeah.
while we're on here?
Is it,
No, I know Chris. So
What? He's not
There
alive.
you go.
Brent
All
has
right.
his
Well, let's
lifeline.
reconvene next week at 2:00. Can we say who we're having on?
Yeah.
Yes, we're
Let's
going
say
to have
Because it's
Holly-
ladies' night.
Holly Woods from Toronto. It's the women's power hour.
Exactly.
Holly Woods from Toronto, and Jan Arden from
Jan
Jan Arden.
Yes.
Two.
She was an amazing artist, and she's moved into television and everything too.
Yeah,
so that's amazing.
she's big time. So we're
She's
really lucky to have her. Come on.
And Holly Woods was the singer for an amazing band called singer for a band
Yep.
called Toronto. Yeah.
One of my favorite Canadian
We-
bands.
Daddy don't know what
What
your
your
mama's
mama-
gonna do.
Careful,
That's-
careful,
yeah.
we're going to get cut.
That was so strange.
Brutal.
We have to ask.
How long were we off the air?
Well, we had our U.S. Audience because they weren't affected by it, but it just took over Canada. It just blocked the comments, and I don't know. We were down for probably about 30 seconds until I just rebooted the stream. So, yeah.
So from now on, we just have footage of Shane doing his sewage.
That's right. Exactly.
Fixing his sewage.
Exactly.
That'll be
We should do a
safe,
whole
right?
show
What
on
a
that.
Shane's new
that
band,
was.
Industrial
Let's just do a
Snake.
whole show.
I should have filmed it, actually.
You're playing with finger prick and
Exactly.
babies.
Everybody's keeping busy this time of year, so good to see you guys. Good catching up.
You too.
Same
You too.
time next Tuesday, and
Yes.
we'll see you all then.
We got
Right
it.
on.
Bye.